Okay, so I'm joined by the fantastic Ginger Wildheart of the Wildhearts with his incredibly awesome cat ear headphones. Mate, where did you get them? First of all, forget like the questions in the interview. I want to know about these headphones. They're awesome.
Well, I got them as far as I can remember. They're the only pair of headphones I've got, and I was planning on getting a different pair when I just wanted to do the podcast. These are the only ones that I had. I got them on tour when we were on tour in Europe in December, and people said keep the headphones. So I'm like, well, okay, I'll keep them. I thought they were dog ears. I thought I was trying to look like my dog, but everyone tells me I look like a cat. So. I think it backfired. Bit me in the arse, that little plan.
Well, dog ears, cat ears. At the end of the day, they are pretty damn cool. And nice mug, by the way. Like you're actually like really impressing me with everything, and I haven't even got to the interview yet. Anyway, so the new album, The Satanic Rites of the Wildhearts. Now, this is out on the 7th of March. For me, I'm really looking forward to this. To start, where did the name for the album actually come from? What was the inspiration for that?
I mean, I heard it.
I've heard it, yeah. I've been
Oh,
listening to it all through today.
it was our our A&R man, Danny Benuto. His first job, his first ever job, was Earth versus the Wildhearts.
Yeah,
So we've come complete circle. He's now working with us again. But it was, I had a title, I had an album cover, and he was like, well, can we have something that's a bit more like Earth versus the Wildhearts? Can we keep that kind of theme? Kind of be a film based? So I went, oh, well, okay. Um, Went online, started looking at movies, and I'm like, oh, I'm looking at science fiction films, and I'm just thinking they all sound like Misfits titles or something, you know.
yeah.
None of them really worked. And then I thought, oh, I'll go to my love of Hammer movies. Um, and I just, one of my favorite Hammer films was Satanic Rites of Dracula because it was based in the present time. And so I just thought, hey, I went back to him and said, how about the Satanic Rites of the Wildhearts? And he's like, perfect. So that's where the name came from. There's no more thought behind it than that.
Do you know what? Sometimes it's the simplest that actually works out the best. And, you know, I absolutely love the name of it. And, you know, the fact it sort of harkens back to Earth Versus, which was my first introduction to the Wildhearts as a band.
You don't
And
look old enough.
oh, I'm in my 40s now. I'll tell you what, I'll tell you the story if you're interested of how I became this, even though, you know, I'm supposed to be interviewing you. But essentially, the Wildhearts are the band that's responsible for me being interested in the rock scene completely. It all started with Earth versus the Wildhearts. So I hear Earth versus coming from my sister's room, blaring out. I wonder, and I was like, "What's this?" And after getting a shoe thrown at me and get out of my room, you little shit, and all of that, she was like, "Wait a minute, there's something here. Maybe he'll stop having pictures of the Spice Girls on his wall and listen to something good." So essentially, if it wasn't for Earth versus, this conversation may not even be happening.
I
So
hope you
that's
kept the pictures of the Spice Girls up though.
well, they might be there in the room back in my old parents' house. Perhaps I don't know though. Maybe they are.
Nothing
Um,
wrong with some pictures of the Spice Girls.
that is
They're
true.
definitely prettier than the Wildhearts.
Oh, I don't know about that. Anyway, you brought together sort of a whole new lineup for this record. Um, how did working with the new members come about for this particular album?
I got a bunch of songs that just came to me. I wasn't planning on write. Well, I couldn't write. I didn't have any ideas or anything. Wasn't interested. And then, you know, typically you get one, you get two, then you get the whole album. For me anyway, typically, I just rushed in to do some demos, all self-financed, and then a deal came with Dante Bonotto's label, Spine Farm,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, this is going well." I wasn't expecting any of this. The whole thing started on this kind of really organic path. And one of the provisos he said was, I'll do a deal. We'll do, you know, Wild Arts albums and stuff, but I don't want to work with the last lineup. And I'm like, okay, let's just get through the demo stage. I thought, okay, well, there's a lot of problems with the last lineup, but I got an attack of the guilts between the demo and the recording of the album. So I got in touch with CG and Rich, and I said, look, do you want to do this? I know it'll sound completely different than what it does in my head, but do you want to do this? And they said no, they didn't want to continue, which obviously is their choice. But what's not their choice is whether I continue or not. So I figured, well, I'll go in there. John Poole was playing bass on the demos. I'm like, well, he's my go-to human being, let alone bass player. Ben Marsden seems to be designed to be in the Wildhearts. He sings, plays, even looks like a Wildheart. And then we kept the drummer from the demos, a guy called Dudge Gurdon, who changes his name for every project that he does. He's professionally known as Cheb Nettles, and he plays drums in Gong. And he played drums on the demo, so he knew the songs. We got him straight in to do the album, and the whole thing just started from the first thing that went down onto tape. The whole thing was just easy. It was so fucking effortless. Oh, I haven't even got my little light on. Do you want me to put my little light on? Is that going to make things better for you? Let me just see if it makes any fucking difference whatsoever. I got this light for my podcast, and I don't know if it makes a fucking heap of the difference. But you tell me. Does that make any difference?
It's a little bit of a difference. You look for a moment, I thought you were being raptured because the light really shone down. But yeah, no, it's all good. It looks good.
Oh, good. We like to look good, don't we?
We try.
And then when the album was done, it was time to find a full-time drummer. And a friend of mine suggested this guy, Charles Evans. And we were recording some B-sides. So we're like, well, okay, well, let's get Charles down and see how he does on the B-sides. We know he's good, but let's see if he fits in personality-wise and stuff. Came down and he fits in perfectly. He's like could be Ben's brother. Obviously much taller. He's about 6'5". And then I figured this is a good band on paper, but it means nothing unless you get in the back of a van and go and do some fucking gigs together. So I thought we'll put this grueling tour together of Europe, tiny venues, huge journeys. The first journey was 32 hours in a van. 32 hours. Now, you know, if you're going to get on as a band after 32 hours in a van together. And yeah, it went great. All the shows went great. The band sounded great. It just clicked. And from then on, it was just like, this is easy.
I mean, that's what we want at the end of the day. Now, I have been listening to the new record throughout the day, and you know, I'm actually really digging it. I mean, like the songs that have really sort of like stood out to me was it Scared of Glass? Was it Scared of Glass?
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm looking at my the side here.
Yeah, do you want to borrow these?
See, I've got my eyes lasered. I'm trying to stay away from the glasses as long as I can.
Oh, me too. I've got reading glasses. I've got fucking tons of different types of reading glasses. But thing is, I can't see further than a book with my glasses on. I mean, I can't drive with my glasses or anything like that. I can't even use my glasses to look at you. So I've got this weird eyesight thing where it's great for books, but I can't use glasses for everything. So when I'm doing podcasts, it's a bit like it's right in the middle. It's right in that place where your sat nav is in the car.
Yeah.
It's too far away to see really clear, but too close to put glasses on. Anyway, that's my glasses story. So yeah, that's I like that one. That was one of the first songs that came.
One of the ones that I really dug, and I'm going to sort of say, right, YouTube moderators, it's spelled KUNC for the record. That one I've absolutely adored. And I think there was a slower one, Hurt People, Hurt People. Those songs for me just really stood out from the record. But for you, what were the ones that you loved, that you found the most organic?
All of them, literally all of them. I'd been trying to write for a while, and I couldn't come up with anything. And then it got to the point where I had no interest whatsoever in music. I'd been through a bit of a bit of turmoil, just lost my passion. And I figured, well, that's it. I'm going to get a proper job. And then the first song came, which is the first song on the album. And then the second song came, which is the second song on the album. And then I thought, okay, it's working. Whatever juices I need are once again flowing. The songs just came bum 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 bum, and it was so organic. The whole process of writing the album was so organic that I consider this to be an album. So normally when the songs have got a lot of different like places they were written, or different frames of mind, this thing just seems to have like it's not a concept album, but it follows a concept, which means it's a concept album. No, it's like a concept album, but not wanky. But it starts really angry, and then it ends up, being like, kind of resigned and rejoicing in the fact that, yeah, it's all up to me. It's like, this is how things are. It's not all over. In fact, once you get into a positive frame of mind, it's not the end of anything. It's the beginning of something. So the end of the album is almost like a new beginning. The fact that the end of the album was released as the first single, I thought was a brilliant move on the part of Dante and Spinefarm. What a ridiculous idea, which goes perfectly well with my logic in general.
Well, sometimes
I've got no favorite songs. They all just came as part of this album. Really.
Now, I think you've sort of actually answered this question through what you've just said, but you've actually poured quite a lot of your emotion into this record. Now, where did this inspiration initially come from?
Emotional what into the record?
No, there's quite a lot of your own emotion that comes through this record. Where did the inspiration for that come from?
Being stuck in life, but life just being overwhelmed by all the negatives in my life, and it's that point where I can do something, or I can just retreat into the comfort of the familiar, which is what people normally do, which is why I think everybody's got something that they want to do with their life that they're not doing with their life. Whether they're in a shitty job, a shitty relationship, whatever it is. Even the circle of friends could be something that you're like, there's something else. Well, the album started with this kind of, look, it's fucked, I'm broken, stay away from me, otherwise you'll be fucked as well. And then going through this gamut of emotions, and by the end of it, you're like, I'm ready to change everything. It's up to me. And that's the main emotion. I mean, there's different ideas of it goes off into anger, and it goes to a lot of different places. But the general, I'm a very emotional person, and I'm a very emotional writer. So I don't write any songs that haven't got emotions in. But the emotion on this one, the prevailing emotion on this one is it's not over. Everyone deserves happiness. Everyone is able to have a fresh start. No one's too old to improve their life. And then, that's usually what society tells us. Like, oh yeah, that age, you can't go changing things now. You just got to sit in a chair and put your tartan blanket on and suck on your Murray mints and watch the fucking soaps. That's just not me. I'm not the sort of person that woe is me, and give me some pity. It's not my way. So yeah, I was the whole album was that it wasn't about starting again. It was the gaining the courage through working through some of these problems that you have. And you got to remember that there's a song on there called Hurt People, and it's usually you're carrying around this hurt that you haven't dealt with. And it's affecting everything in your life, and you only get the energy that you put out is exactly what you get back. Life is what you see. It's how you see things. That's what life is. And I didn't know that. I was still an angry old bastard throwing stones from on the sidelines. Yeah, fucking get away. Um, and yeah, it very, very long drawn out process it's been, but you know, but finding the strength to make your life better, you know,
Yeah,
that's it's the easy thing is talking about it, but yeah, that's basically the concept behind the album.
nice. Now, you've touched on the artwork already, like sort of hinting at a little bits of elements of Earth versus the Wildhearts. Now, looking at it, there's sort of, to me, a bit of brutality behind it. With like how you're portrayed on it. What's the sort of the story behind it, or what were you personally trying to convey with this, or was it just as simple as Earth versus?
No, it was fucking Dante Benuto again. Um, the most uncomfortable record cover I'd ever made in my life was Earth versus the Wildhearts,
Okay.
purely because I couldn't get anyone else to do it. So I had to do it. I had to wrap myself up in barbed wire, and I have to, have insects on my face and lie in a bath full of oil. And I figured that's as uncomfortable as I'm ever going to be. Wrong. This one was way, way more uncomfortable. And it was, Danny had this idea that I was going to be in a bath of cold water and milk. Um, and just to paint a little bit of a picture, it was the hottest day of the year in 2024. Sweltering it was outside. And I had frostbite because the water was fucking freezing. And that wasn't the worst bit. The worst bit was having to get up and get some more slap put on, get back in. And I had to do that, about half a dozen times. And it was fucking freezing. So yeah, definitely. There's something about being the discomfort you get from cold is a very special kind of pain. It's like, I'm good with pain. I don't mind a bit of pain, but you try sticking your hand in some ice water for a minute, and it fucking hurts a lot more than hot water. Um, so yeah, I think Dandy's point was to make me as uncomfortable as I was on the first album.
Charming. But I mean, it looks like it's a great looking album. But
You know what?
well,
We talked about this and we were saying we could have done it with CGI. We could have just computer, generated a similar thing. But I'm an adventurer. I like exciting things, and I like things that I don't want to do, scary things. I like doing that sort of stuff. So I figured like there's going to be no story behind doing it on a computer. A bit like, there's these people that get burns cream put on them and then get tattooed. And now there's this thing where they get anesthetized. So you're asleep while they tattoo you. No story whatsoever. I fell asleep and I woke up and I was covered in ink. I like things that have a background,
yeah.
some kind of tale behind them. So yeah, there was the option to do it by computer, but it was never really going to work.
Yeah. Do
Not
you know
if you
what?
can make it really unpleasant.
Yeah. Do you know what? I don't like the idea of going to sleep while someone tattoos me. Knowing the tattooists I know, they'll be like, idiots out. Let's see what we can do. It's like,
Get
I'll
some
try.
cocks on there. Ah.
They probably would, to be fair. Now, you're about to head out on tour to support this album. Like the first date, I think, is in Sheffield on the same day as the release. Um, so, out of these venues you're going to, first of all, why aren't you coming to London? I'm absolutely devastated. And two, where are you most looking forward to actually playing out of these venues?
Um, you'll have to ask our agent why we're not going to London. I presume it's because we played London last year.
True.
And being London, you're like, well, we want two shows, But I mean, we're not playing Newcastle either, so you're not the only ones that are
Yeah, I know.
being shut on. But I'm sure it's a plan from our agent to do a second bunch of gigs because it makes no sense not playing London and not playing Newcastle. So yeah, I don't think we're not playing London. I just don't think we're doing London in this batch because we did it in June.
Cool. Now,
Nothing personal.
I've only got one more question for you, and I like to end on a little segment I called Tales of Touring Terror. Now, the Wildhearts as a band have got a long and storied history, and I could imagine we could actually make this last the entire interview potentially. But have you got a story of a touring experience that was perhaps gross, funny, or I can't believe that actually happened?
No, because it would incriminate people that should remain innocent. Nothing that we did wasn't involving a lot of people, and it was all dubious stuff that not all of which was legal. And for me to talk about stuff like that without a little bit of time to think about what I'm going to talk about would end up incriminating someone in some way. So, no, you're not going to get your saucy tour story out of me.
Oh, that's such a shame. But do you know what? I fully understand and I can appreciate that. But Ginger, I want to say thank you so much for chatting to me today. For me personally, it's been everything I've ever done leading up to this moment, if I'm being brutally honest. I'm even still a little bit starstruck. I'm chatting to you, bizarrely enough. But I want to thank you so much. Good luck with the tour. Good luck with the album. It's been a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Damian. You have a great week.
You too, man. See you later. Bye.
See ya.